Welcome back to the American Sports Network. I am Tom Rook, located here at Dunn Field for Game 2 of a 7-inning twin bill between the Niagara Falls Americans and the Elmira Pioneers. As we get set for first pitch, here it is. Strike one. No, it's not. Ball one. Just misses upstairs. Thought it was strike one. Just misses above the zone for ball one. Justin Gladfelter to lead things off for the Americans here against Zach Nelson for the Pios. Pitch number 2 is fouled off. Now 1-1. We'll get into the starting lineups in a moment, but we're back here for Game 2 after Game 1 where the Pioneers took it 11-8. Tacked on some necessary insurance runs as the game went on, and the rest was kind of history. The Americans weren't able to mount the full comeback. That one misses upstairs. Now 2-1 against Gladfelter, who's playing shortstop here in Game 2. Swap spots with Anthony Savino, who moves over to second. Americans had a 3-2 lead going into the 5th inning of game number 1, but surrendered the lead to the Pios. Gladfelter at the plate. Here's the 2-1. In the dirt, misses. Now 3-1. Gladfelter in game 1 had 2 hits, a triple that he actually came around to score on, so was a Little League homer, and a infield single in the first inning that led off game 1. So leading off here in game 2, let's see what Gladfelter has up his sleeve. Here's the 3-1. Fouls that one off, right on it. Now 3-2. Gladfelter against Zachary Nelson. Nelson pitches at Alfred State, a 5'10", 250-pound graduate student from Corning, New York. Guy with a beard that's very thick out there on the mound. Here's the 3-2. Gladfelter pops it up on the right side of the infield. Moving over is Jack Aylward, who's getting the start at first base here in game 2. Makes the catch. We'll take a look at the American starting lineup. It's Justin Gladfelter to lead things off. David Harrison center field batting second. Dominic Zangardi will shift from the DH role to right field. Matt Ganchow will stay out in left. Vincent Favada getting the start in game 2 here as the extra hitter against his former team, the Elmira Pioneers. Logan Stickler, 2 hits in game 1. We'll get the DH start. Adam Weiss. First base, Anthony Savino at second. Michael Sabella and Evan Shank at third. Kyrie Harmon getting the start on the mound for the Americans. As David Harris digs in after Justin Gladfelter pop out. Harris takes ball 1 outside, 1-0. Harris at the plate, 2 for 4 in game 1. Now ahead in the count 1-0 here against Nelson. Comes set, delivers the 1-0. Harris swings and foul, tips it into the glove of Spanner. So now 1-1. We're in game 2 of a doubleheader here at Dunn Field. Historic place of baseball. Count is 1-1 against David Harris playing center field here in game 2. Pitch. Fouled straight back to the screen. Now 1-2. Harris right on that off-speed pitch from Nelson. See Kyrie Harmon getting the start here for the Americans after just throwing 100 pitches a few days ago. Going to get the start on the mound, though. Harris at the plate, behind in the count 1-2. Pitch, low, misses, now 2-2. Good take on the off-speed pitch by David Harris. So count is now even at 2. Harris, second on the team in doubles this past year at Clarkson University. Finished with 7 in 28 games. Having a really good year, though, leading this Americans team in hits now with 33 on the year. 2-2 pitch to Harris. Lines that one to right field. It falls for a fair ball. It'll roll all the way into the corner. Harris rounds first. He's headed for second. Looks like he's going to stop right there. So a 1-out double for David Harris. And the Americans have a runner in scoring position here with 1 out in the top of the first. Mr. Consistent continues to be consistent, dominating at the plate for this Americans team. Harris now at second, 1 out in the inning. That'll bring up Dominic Zangardi. Take a look at the Pioneers' defensive alignment. In the outfield, Tyler Adamo, Caleb Delaney, and Tyson Gingrich out there in right. Dug that ball out of right field. Then Manny Castro, Jalen Tidwell, Manuel Esley, and Jack Aylward in the infield. In the battery, Zachary Nelson and Nick Spanner for the Pios. Zangardi at the plate with Harris at second, 1 out in the inning. Nelson comes set, delivers to Zangardi. Gives that one a ride to left field. A long run for Adamo. He's not going to get there. It falls for a base hit. Harris will head for home and score on the play. Zangardi gets into second. It's a 1-out RBI double for the incoming freshman at Niagara University. And the Americans take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first. So Tyler Adamo getting the start in left field, who's normally a middle infield guy from Columbia. Now getting the start in left field. Couldn't run that one down. A long run for Tidwell at shortstop. Couldn't make it happen. And that turns into a double for Dom Zangardi. The Americans lead 1-0. 1 out of the inning. Zangardi off second. Ganchow swings and misses. That's strike one. So the Americans draw first blood here at Dunn Field in game number 2 of a doubleheader. Ganchow now at the plate, down 0-1. 1 out in the inning. Zangardi off second. Pitch to Ganchow. Drives that one out to right field. Gingrich headed towards the line. He doesn't get there. It'll bounce over his head up against the wall. Tosses it in. Zangardi's going to stop at third. Ganchow stops at second. It's 3 straight doubles for the red, white, and blue. And they lead 1-0 now with second and third. 1 out in the inning. That'll bring up Vincent Favada. A little bit of a frustrating play if you're an Americans fan just because of that one turning into a double. But Dom Zangardi have to hold and wait to make sure that ball fell over the head of Gingrich. I thought he was going to get there, but just short of the warning track and just over the glove of Gingrich. Now second and third, 1 out for Vinny Favada. Like I mentioned, against his former team, played for the Pios last summer, and he's hit. Favada in his first at-bat against his former ball club gets hit. That'll load the bases here with 1 out in the top of the first. Favada clearly frustrated, throws away his bat. I'm sure nothing personal. We're in a close game. Pioneers in a playoff race. And that'll bring up Logan Stickler, who had a big game 1. Now at the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out in the inning. Americans looking to add on to this 1-run lead here against the Pioneers, who they fell to in game 1. Pitch to Stickler, taken up and in for ball 1. Stickler, Favada batting behind each other in the order, battled against each other last year on this very field in these very uniforms. Just Favada switched. Stickler swings and misses. That's strike 1. Stickler played for the Americans last summer. Favada on the Pios last summer, so now teammates this summer. Stickler at the plate. Count is 1-1. Nelson on the mound. Favada off first. Ganchow off second. Zangardi off third. Pitch to Stickler in there. A called strike with a curveball. A nice pitch from Nelson, able to land in a deuce against Stickler. Count now 1-2. So 3 straight doubles for the Americans and a hit by pitch for Vincent Favada. He's on first. Ganchow off second. Zangardi off third. Pitch to Stickler. That one's lofted out to left. Going back is Adamo towards the wall. And it's out of here. A grand slam for Logan Stickler. Makes it a 5-0 ball game here in the top of the first. The second-year American. A grand salami. How about Logan Stickler? The Americans have lost their last 12 games, and they find themselves up 5-0 here in the top of the first against the Pioneers, who are starstruck 1 out in the inning. Stickler clears the bases, and the Americans lead 5-0, and that brings up Adam Weiss. First pitch from Nelson, upstairs, missing ball 1. Logan Stickler, a big past couple games coming off his bat. The Americans lead 5-0, 4 hits in the inning. Weiss ahead 1-0. Pitch from Nelson. Weiss lofts that one into left. Adamo coming on. A late crash, but he makes the play for the 2nd out of the inning. Stickler's ball kind of carried, didn't have a ton of mustard on it off the bat, just kept going and landed over the wall for a grand slam. So Weiss flies out to left. That'll bring out Anthony Savino to the dish. First pitch from Nelson. Savino lines it up the middle. Delaney coming on. He won't get there. It's off his leg. Savino rounds first. He's going to stop right there. But another hit for the Americans, their 5th of the inning. Continue this hot streak here in the top of the 1st. That'll bring up Michael Sabella at the plate. Sabella, take a look at the lineup once again. Sabella near the bottom, and then Evan Shank. Then we're right back to the top for the Americans. Savino off first. Pitch. Sabella grounds that to second. Fielded with one hand by Esley. Goes to first. And finally makes the 3rd out of the inning. So Sabella, a 4-3 putout, ends a crazy top half of the 1st. The Americans pour on 5 runs on 5 hits. No errors in the inning and 1 runner left on base. The Pioneers coming to bat here in the bottom of the 1st, trailing 5-0 against the red, white, and blue.
The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank McDonald's for being a sponsor of the team this year. With an extensive menu of well-known favorites, McDonald's is famous for its convenience. Especially during a long baseball season, McDonald's is the perfect place to grab a quick bite to eat and get right back to the ballpark. So head to your nearest McDonald's and enjoy all the classics. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Bully Hill Vineyards for their support all season long. On the south end of gorgeous Keuka Lake, you can taste over 40 wines and enjoy food at a family-friendly winery open 7 days a week. Visit bullyhillvineyards.com to learn more about what they have to offer. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank McDonald's for being a sponsor of the team this year. With an extensive menu of well-known favorites, McDonald's is famous for its convenience. Especially during a long baseball season, McDonald's is the perfect place to grab a quick bite to eat and get right back to the ballpark. So head to your nearest McDonald's and enjoy all the classics. A special thank you to Tropical Heating and Cooling for sponsoring the Americans this season. Locally owned and operated, Tropical Heating and Cooling provides expert installation, repair, and maintenance for home heating, cooling, and air quality systems. Call 716-870-0753 or head to tropicalheating.net to submit a service request and knock your heating and cooling needs out of the park.
Back here at Dunn Field, the home of the Elmira Pioneers. I'm Tom Rook here on the American Sports Network. We got a game today, the Pioneers and the Americans. We actually got 2 games. We're in the second half of a doubleheader. Pioneers won the first one in an 11-8 barn burner. And now the Americans quickly up 5-0 over the Pios after a 5-run first. Take a look at the Americans lineup just real quick. So Sabella made the final out, so it'll be Shank, then back to the top, so they'll bat around almost. And now we'll look at the Pioneers starting lineup. So Manuel Esley getting the start in the leadoff spot. Once again, he'll play second base. Caleb Delaney still in center. Nick Spanner moving from the extra hitter spot to behind the plate. Manny Castro still at third, batting fourth. Alex Davis as the extra hitter, batting fifth. Brandon Dubeck batting sixth as the DH. Jack Aylward will move into the lineup after not being in the lineup in Game 1. Tyler Adamo, usually a second baseman for this Pioneers team, will move out to left after Brett Baker came out of Game 1 due to a sickness. Jalen Tidwell remains at short, and Tyson Gingrich out there in right field, moving from left to right. for the Pios, and Zachary Nelson on the mound surrendered 5 runs in that first inning against a really red-hot Americans offense. Logan Stickler, 4 runs coming off 1 swing. And another 3 straight doubles in the inning, a home run, and a single off the bat of Anthony Savino as Kyrie Harmon takes over on the mound. Misses upstairs, ball number 1 against Manny Esley. Harmon deals the 1-0. That one misses upstairs. 2-0. Harmon threw over 100 pitches just a couple nights ago in Batavia. Now back out there starting this game for the Americans. Pitch fouled straight back. Harmon able to work into and out of a lot of jams in that game for the Americans. The first inning, a true noble tiger. Bases loaded, no outs, and no runs were scored by the Muck Dogs. Then he also worked out of another bases loaded jam in the third of that game, allowing only a run. So you look at Kyrie Harmon able to get into and out of a lot of jams. Now finds himself behind in the count 3-1. Here against Manny Esley, who's at the plate, leading off, playing second base for the Pios. Here's the 3-1 from Harmon. In there, called strike. Now 3-2 with a fastball. Americans lost that game against the Muck Dogs 17-8, and it started similar to this one. Americans poured on 6 runs in the second inning. They were up 6-1 with Harmon on the mound, and Harmon went 5 innings, gave up 10 earned on 10 hits. Swing and a miss right there by Manny Esley. He's down on strikes to start off the bottom of the first. So kind of a repeat game so far here. If you're Kyrie Harmon, Americans give you 5 runs of breathing room. But that last game, Harmon just had trouble locating the zone, hit 8 batters, had a balk, and had 8 walks as well. So 16 free passes issued by Harmon in that game, really trying to avoid that again today. Pitch from Harmon, throws it behind Delaney, actually clips him, so he'll reach first. So that's exactly kind of not what Harmon wants out of this outing. That's his 9th hit batsman of the year, only in 5 1/3 innings. That'll bring up Nick Spanner with Delaney at first. Spanner moving behind the plate after game 1, where he was just a hitter in the lineup. Been a consistent batter at the lineup this year, has Spanner. First pitch, Harmon lands in a curveball at the top of the zone. One of those pitches that's not easy to call as a home plate umpire. You kind of have to see it all the way into the zone at the top, clip the top half of the zone, called a strike. Harmon ahead 0-1, Delaney off first, a good lead. Staying there, deals the 0-1 outside corner, called a strike with a fastball. Now 0-2, Harmon ahead of Spanner. 1 out in the inning, runner at first. So Harmon 1 pitch away from getting out of this. There goes Delaney off first. Pitches in the dirt. Gets by Sabella, but not super far. A good pitch to run on if you're Caleb Delaney. He's able to swipe second. So Delaney now off second. Count is 1-2. Harmon out of the stretch here against Nick Spanner. Pitch flown down the first baseline, foul, out of play. So Delaney now off second. Count is 1-2. Spanner against Harmon. Out of the stretch. Here's the 1-2. Up and away. Now 2-2. Delaney on the year. That was just his 6th steal in 21 games. Reached on a hit by pitch, which has been a real trouble for Harmon this year for the Americans. Counts even at 2, 1 out of the inning. Pitch to Spanner, up and in. Now 3-2. In that game against Batavia on Thursday, Harmon had some trouble missing up and in, just could not locate the outer half of the plate. So far tonight, looks like having similar trouble, but not nearly as bad as it was. So Harmon working out at the stretch. Count is full 3-2, 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Americans lead 1-0 at Dunn Field. Nick Spanner at the plate against Kyrie Harmon. Harmon checks on Delaney. There he goes for third. Ripped on the left field line, but going to go foul. Spanner way out in front of a pitch from Harmon. Delaney was going to steal third base at free will, but forced to retreat after the foul ball. Spanner wears number 23 for the Pios. Hitting .422 on the year. Pitch upstairs misses, and now Spanner's reached base safely in all 15 games he's played this year for the Pios. As now Elmira has first and second with 1 out in the inning against Kyrie Harmon, who again has really struggled with those free passes. We'll bring up Manny Castro. Castro playing third base for the Pioneers here in Game 2. Played third base in Game 1 as well. Went 2 for 4, a single and a double with 2 RBIs. Pitch, that one's crushed to right center. Harris going back towards the warning track at the wall. It's gone! A 3-run shot for Manny Castro makes this game 5-3. Castro, a 3-run bomb to deep right center. And the Pios now only trail by 2 runs. So 5-3, just like that, at the snap of a finger. Off the bat of Manny Castro, deep to right center. The ball is flying out today. 3rd home run of the ball games, of the 2 games, I should say. That one misses up and away for ball. Offense continues to pour on. Harmon behind in the count 1-0. Pitch inside, and it clips Davis. Another hit by pitch. Kyrie Harmon. Davis on first. Harmon really working that inner half of the plate, which is what he's really been struggling with as of late. Going to bring up Brandon Dubeck. Americans still lead 5-3. Pioneers scored 3 runs on 1 hit off the bat of Manny Esley, a 3-run shot. Pitch from Harmon, bounced to short, fielded by Gladfelter on to second for 1, on to first, a 6-4-3 inning ender for the Americans. So Harmon does his job there at the second half of the inning, getting a big ground out to short that turns into 2 outs. So Dubeck grounds into a 6-4-3 inning ender. But in the inning, Pioneers score 3 runs on 1 hit. No errors in the inning, and no men left on base. The Americans coming to bat here. Zachary Nelson trotting out for his 2nd inning of work at Dunn Field. You're watching PGCBL Baseball right here on the American Sports Network.
The Niagara Falls Americans thank Casella Waste Systems for their continued support. Casella offers sustainable waste management and garbage pickup right here in Niagara Falls. As an environmental service provider, Casella manages and transforms society's waste into new resources. Call 716-637-4843 to get a price quote on garbage pickup. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the support of Stalka Agency. Serving Western New York since 1957, Stalka Agency makes insurance simple through proactive planning and straightforward conversations. Call the local Stalka insurance team at 716-634-7070 to get a tailored insurance quote that's as precise as a pitcher painting the outside corner. The Niagara Falls Americans appreciate the ongoing support of Blaze Brockway Contracting. Family owned and operated for over 15 years, Blaze Brockway Contracting specializes in all aspects of remodeling and renovation. Call 607-259-7607 for all of your construction and home improvement needs.
Back here at Dunn Field in Elmira, New York, the Americans leading the Pioneers 5-3 as we head to the top of the second. Some news coming out of the MLB draft. Last year, 2025 Niagara Falls American Dalton Harper getting chosen in the 16th round by the Atlanta Braves, pick number 472. Harper won the NJCAA Division III Player of the Year award this past year, now getting drafted by the Braves. Pitch to Evan Shank is cut on and missed. Strike one. Pretty cool to see a former American getting chosen to play in the MLB. Count 0-1 against Evan Shank at the plate as the 10 hitter for the Americans. Takes a curveball on the inside corner called strike. Nelson quickly ahead 0-2. Shank the only American not to come to the plate in that top half of the first. As Gladfelter looms on deck, the leadoff hitter for the red, white, and blue. Here's the 0-2 from Nelson. Misses upstairs. Now 1-2 against Shank. Counts 1-2. Nelson out of the stretch. Deals to Evan Shank. Lofts that one into center. Right at Delaney for out number one. Shank is retired. It'll flip the lineup over back to the top in Justin Gladfelter. Gladfelter popped up to the right side of the infield his first time up. Nelson this past year at Alfred State made 20 appearances, had a 1-1 record, tallied 16 strikeouts in 28 1/3 innings, so definitely got his fair share of work. Pitched at Alfred for 2 years, 32 innings his junior season. Gladfelter takes that one low. Ball number one. We got one out here in the top of the second. Nelson back out there for his second inning of work. Pitch to Gladfelter. Misses upstairs. Now 2-0. Gladfelter back at shortstop tonight after making a couple errors the other night in Newark. Total of 4 at that position. But made a nice double play there in that last inning. Gladfelter to Savino on to Weiss. A 6-4-3 double play. Harmon able to get a ground ball and get out of it. Nelson behind in the count 2-1 here against Gladfelter. Out of the stretch, misses low and away. Nelson pitched his first 2 years, of college ball at SUNY Corning. Also hit while he was there as an infielder. Batted .280 his sophomore year in 38 games, had 8 RBIs. Behind in the count 3-1. Here's the pitch to Gladfelter. Bounce to the left side. A high hop pick by Castro. Going across the diamond in the dirt. Pick is not made at first by Jack Aylward. And Gladfelter reaches. See how that one is scored, but good hustle by Gladfelter to get a hard 90 down the line. Called an error on the play, on the throw. I think a good throw does get him. So Gladfelter reaches on the E5. One out in the inning, brings up David Harris. He doubled his first time up. Pitch to Harris, skied down the third baseline, but out of play for strike number 1. Harris behind 0-1. Went 2 for 4 in game 1, did Harris. Now at the plate. Hitting .452 entering game 2. Gladfelter off first. Good speed. Fakes the steal. Now retreats back to first. Harris fouls it off. Harris a double in inning number 1. His first extra base hit since June 30th against the Geneva Red Wings when he had a double as well. Just his second in the last 15 games for Harris. Third double on the year. Pick off the first. Gladfelter dives back in time. Gladfelter, 21 steals in 21 games this year for the red, white, and blue. Now at first with 1 out, 0-2 count, so a good count to run on if you're Gladfelter. Most likely an off-speed pitch coming here from Nelson. Gladfelter, good lead. Harris, pitch, popped up to the left side of the infield in foul ground. Castro over, makes the play. Harris is retired. Kind of shakes his head, knows how much that one stinks. Now 2 outs in the inning. We'll bring up Dominic Zangardi. Two outs now in the top half of the second. Gladfelter still at first. Zangardi at the plate. He's 1 for 1. Had a double last inning. There goes Gladfelter. Pitches a strike. Throw it on to second. Gladfelter in there. Swipes second after getting thrown out in game 1. That's his 22nd of the year. Americans have a runner in scoring position now with Zangardi at the plate, an RBI machine. Second on this team in RBIs with 16 on the year. Now 17 after game 1. Gladfelter off second. Pitch to Zangardi. Swinging a foul. Tip for strike 2. So Zangardi quickly behind 0-2. Spanner walking to the mound to talk things over with Nelson. Make sure the home plate umpire is all right. So there's 2 outs in the inning. Gladfelter's at second. Count is 0-2. Home plate umpire gives Spanner a little shake of the hand. Says, thanks for doing that. Gladfelter been on base in 15 of his last 16 games, riding a 4-game on-base streak. Now he's at second. Zangardi at the plate, riding a 4-game hitting streak. 0-2 pitch. Upstairs, misses now 1-2. Zangardi struggling a little bit here in the month of July outside of these last 2 games where he's really come on. But been striking out a little bit more as of late. 6 strikeouts in his last 6 games compared to 6 in his previous 20. The 1-2 to Zangardi. Fouled off. Stay 1-2. Zangardi hitting .615 in wins this year for the Americans compared to .313 in losses. So in games the Americans win, it's more than likely it happened because of something Zangardi did on the offensive end. That's how big he's been for this team. 8 for 13 in wins. Count 1-2, pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Zangardi down on strikes for the 3rd out of the inning. So in the inning, the Americans score no runs on no hits. 1 error in the inning and 1 man left on base. In Gladfelter at second. We go to the bottom of the second. Americans lead 5-3. Here at Dunn Field, you're watching PGCBL Baseball right here on the American Sports Network.
The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank Bully Hill Vineyards for their support all season long. On the south end of gorgeous Keuka Lake, you can taste over 40 wines and enjoy food at a family-friendly winery open 7 days a week. Visit bullyhillvineyards.com to learn more about what they have to offer. A special thank you to Tropical Heating and Cooling for sponsoring the Americans this season. Locally owned and operated, Tropical Heating and Cooling provides expert installation, repair, and maintenance for home heating, cooling, and air quality systems. Call 716-870-0753 or head to tropicalheating.net to submit a service request and knock your heating and cooling needs out of the park. The Niagara Falls Americans would like to thank McDonald's for being a sponsor of the team this year. With an extensive menu of well-known favorites, McDonald's is famous for its convenience. Especially during a long baseball season, McDonald's is the perfect place to grab a quick bite to eat and get right back to the ballpark. So head to your nearest McDonald's and enjoy all the classics.
So Kyrie Harmon back out there for his second inning of work here for the red, white, and blue. Americans lead the Pioneers 5-3 here at Dunn Field. An exciting game so far. Nonetheless, we'll take a look at the Americans' defensive linemen, which I realize I neglected to show you there in that first inning. On defense here for the Americans, Savino up the middle is still getting changed, but Gladfelter at shortstop now for the Americans. As we'll take a look at that change happening at the moment. Gladfelter at short. So Evan Chenik at third, Gladfelter at short, Savino at second, Weiss at first. And the outfield, another change from game one. Ganschow in left and Harris in center. And now see that second change go through. Zangardi now swaps with Munakata, so he's in right, and Sabella behind the dish with Harmon on the mound. That'll bring up Jack Aylward, the first baseman for the Pios. First pitch from Harmon, misses up and away for ball one. Count 1-0, Harmon behind against Jack Aylward. Out of Lowell, Massachusetts, takes one inside, nearly clips him. Aylward out of Northern Essex Community College out in Haverhill, Mass., a JUCO Division III school. Played 31 games this past year at Northern Essex as he crushes that one to left, headed towards the foul pole. If it's fair, it's gone. It's foul. Crowd upset with the call, but clearly foul. A long strike, almost the fourth home run in these last two games here at Dunn Field. 3-run shot by Manny Castro in the first, a Logan Stickler grand slam in the top half of the first. Pitch from Harmon, and it hits him. Another hit by pitch by Kyrie Harmon. He really struggling with those hit by pitches here as an American in his career. And by career, I mean just 2 games. Through 5 innings against Batavia, hit 8 batters. Now an inning into tonight against the Pios, he's hit also 2 batters, so 10 hit batsmen here in this game. Pitched up and in, misses to Tyler Adamo. Adamo getting started in left field, traditionally a second baseman. Attends Columbia in the Ivy League. Pitch from Harmon, inside again. Now 2-0. So Aylward off first after the hit by pitch. Not much of a threat to run. No stolen bags in 18 games. Not much of a lead either. Count is 2-0 against Adamo. Pitch from Harmon. Inside again. Now 3-0. You wonder if you see Sabella kind of start to set up outside already to start, or if Harmon would sort of switch up his spot on the rubber, maybe far right. Sometimes some pitchers like to do that, as that one misses up and in again. Harmon really missing in pretty much the exact same spot this whole game so far, up and in, as he's unable to locate that fastball. Now first and second, nobody out for the Pios. That'll bring up Jalen Tidwell. Tidwell playing shortstop here in Game 2 for the Pioneers. Also played in Game 1 at the 6-hole position. Had a tough day defensively, though. Made a few defensive miscues. Harmon out of the stretch. Adamo at first. Aylward at second. Pitch from Harmon. Outside corner gets the strike. 0-1. There's the spot Harmon's been looking for. As he's ahead 0-1 here against Jalen Tidwell. In the first game of the doubleheader, Tidwell 1 for 3 with a double. Came around to score twice as well. 1 for 2, excuse me. Pitch to Tidwell, misses upstairs. Now 1-1. Tidwell out of Chichester, Pennsylvania. Attends Erskine College out of Due West, South Carolina. It'll be a 1-1 from Kyrie Harmon. Pitch. And it hits him in the helmet. No, it hits him off the bat. Looked like it hit helmet, but hits the barrel of the bat. So Harmon gets a strike on the play. Will make the count 1-2. A break for the Americans. From my angle, I thought it hit off the helmet. So now count is 1-2. Big break for the Americans in a first and second nobody out situation for the Pioneers. Tidwell now behind in the count as he shifts his approach to 1 with 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. Misses upstairs. Now 2-2. Harmon against Tidwell. Counts even at 2. First and second for the Pioneers. Pitch from Harmon, misses upstairs. That one just missing. A good take from Tidwell. Count even like that at 2. You might not want to go to an off-speed pitch in the dirt, especially with a guy at second. Take a risk at a wild pitch, so Harmon opts for the fastball upstairs, but misses. Here's the 3-2, and he hits him. Third hit by a pitch of the ball game for Kyrie Harmon, and that'll load the bases. The crowd starting to get into it as well here at Dunn Field. A pretty good turnout for a Sunday doubleheader. But Harmon, 3 hit by pitches tonight. That'll bring up Tyson Gingrich for his first at-bat of Game 2. Got home run pop. Had a home run back when these two teams battled it out in June on the 28th. Gingrich at the plate, batting from the left side. Bases are loaded, nobody out. Golden opportunity for Tyson Gingrich and the Pioneers. First pitch from Harmon, misses up and out for ball number 1. So Harmon quickly behind in the count. Here against the lefty Gingrich. Americans fell 11-8 in Game 1 of this doubleheader, as they bring the corners in, trying to prevent another run from scoring and surrendering their lead. Here's the 1-0. Outside corner gets the call. Good spot there from Harmon. Evens up the count at 1. Auburn Doubledays currently ahead of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks at Dietrich Park, 3-1 in the first game of a 2-gamer. Here's the 1-1 from Harmon. Upstairs, misses to Gingrich. Now 2-1. Gingrich, a .263 hitter for the Pioneers, batting .500 here at Dunn Field at home. 11 for 22 on the year compared to on the road, just 4 for 35, which is 114. Gingrich really pulls through here at Dunn Field. Count is 2-1. Harmon deals to Gingrich outside. Now 3-1, nowhere to put him. Tough outing so far for Harmon. Been awfully wild. 2 hit by pitches and a walk in the inning. 2 hit by pitches and a walk in the first inning as well. We're in the bottom of the second. 3-1 is the count. Harmon deals to Gingrich. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Big pitch right there from Kyrie Harmon. Makes the count full. Gingrich working out of the stretch with the bases loaded. Tidwell off first, Adamo off second, Aylward off third, and there's ball 4. Harmon walks in a run and makes this game 5-4. Gingrich now on first. Harmon needs to find a way to put this ball in the zone. Cannot afford to be any more wild with how this Americans pitching staff has handled depth issues. Back to the top of the order for the Pioneers in Manny Esley. Nobody warming in the Americans bullpen. First pitch to Esley, inside, missing. Now 1-0. Still nobody out in the inning. Americans lead 5-4. 1-0 is the count. Bases are loaded. Second pitch to Esley, misses inside. Now 2-0. Harmon again just missing off that inside corner. One run already in the inning, but no hits for the Pioneers. They saw the bases loaded with nobody out. Americans middle's back. Corners are in. 2-0 coming from Harmon. Upstairs. Now 3-0. Harmon really struggling to locate that zone right now. 81 degrees here at Elmira on a Sunday at 6 o'clock in July. A warm one. Tough environment to pitch in. 3-0 count coming. Esley squares around a bunt, pulls back, gets by Sabella at home, but it's called a strike. And Adamo comes around to score on the wild pitch. We got a tie ball game, 5-5 here in the second inning. Pioneers tie this one up on a wild pitch. So now it's second and third with still nobody out, but you have an open bag. Not saying you want to walk a guy like Esley, but first is open. Americans bring the infield in, nobody out. Pitch. Harmon misses inside, another walk. Ball 4. Second walk in a row issued by Kyrie Harmon. And Dan Brick will take a stroll to the mound to talk things over with his starter, Kyrie Harmon, who in this inning has walked 3 guys and hit 2, allowing 1 run and another to come in from third and make it a 5-5 ball game. So the Americans' 5-run first inning lead